GOP delegates make it official. Trump's their choice. Cleveland after 56 primaries and caucuses, 17 major candidates and $614.3 million in campaign spending. The Republican Party formally nominated its candidate for President of the United States Tuesday in a tightly controlled roll call vote. And that nominee with the presumptive label no longer attached is the New York billionaire, reality television star and anti-politician Donald Trump. It was Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., who was given the honor of putting his father over the 1,237 delegate threshold needed to cinch the nomination. "Congratulations, Dad. We love you," he exclaimed from his front row seat in the New York delegation. Most delegates burst into raucous applause as Frank Sinatra's New York, New York played on the loudspeakers and a few remaining Trump opponents sat on their hands. With Trump supporters successfully putting down an attempted insurgent campaign to change the rules Monday, Trump's name was the only one placed in nomination. So the outcome was preordained as the convention secretary, Susie Hudson of Vermont, called a roll of the states Tuesday evening. That doesn't mean nomination process usually a formulaic ritual marked with a bit more suspense this year as never Trump protests loomed over the convention went off without a hitch. The first bump in the road was in the District of Columbia, which tried to cast 10 delegates for Florida Senator Marco Rubio and 9 for Ohio Governor John Kasich. But the convention secretary overruled the delegation, ordering that all 19 delegates be awarded to Trump. Similar irregularities were summarily dispensed with, making the few protest votes irrelevant to the final tally. The convention chairman, House Speaker Paul Ryan of Wisconsin, announced before a roll call that it wasn't each delegation's announcement that determines the tally. Instead, under the rules adopted Monday, the secretary must record the votes according to state laws and state and national party rules, leaving no room for bound delegates to make a conscientious objection. So for the most part, a roll call was a matter of simple mathematics. The magic number was 1,237, a simple majority of delegates. According to the Associated Press, Trump had 1,543 delegates locked up going into the convention. By the time every delegate was counted, he had more than 1,600. Getting to that number involved a little bit of arcane procedure and not a small amount of stagecraft. It began with a nomination by Senator Jeff Sessions of Alabama, a second from Representative Chris Collins of New York, and a second from South Carolina Lieutenant Governor Henry McMaster. The states plus 5 territories and the District of Columbia were called in alphabetical order, with the chairman of each delegation reading out the result, often with a digression filled with state historical trivia, Chamber of Commerce slogans, nods to politicians and boosterism of local sports teams. Some states passed on the first round, either out of protest or, in the case of Pennsylvania, in deference to New York. Traditionally, the nominee's home state is given the honor of putting its favorite son over the top. And in this case, it was the favorite son's son given that honor. Donald Trump Jr., a Manhattan delegate, was announced that 89 of New York's 95 delegates would go to Trump, clinching the nomination for his father. Afterward, Trump's hand-picked choice for running mate Indiana Governor Mike Pence was to be nominated as the Republican vice presidential candidate by voice vote, since his name would be the only one put into nomination. Contributing, Brian Tumulty,